Eric, Stacy, Lauren, Lanique, we're all with you today.
Welcome, welcome. If you're watching at home, Fire Stick, Roku, or the WFMY News Tube. As we know, we got a lot to talk about today, so let's get into some of our top stories for this afternoon. Developing right now, the Red Cross is assisting a Triad family after a fire destroyed their home. High Point firefighters responded to Beacon Ridge Drive Sunday morning. They say a fire severely damaged the second floor, but everyone was able to get out safely. Right now, you are looking at video of the aftermath. You can see the sides of the home and top windows charred from the flames. Investigators are working to find out the cause of this fire. This week is starting off busy for High Point firefighters. Just this morning, they say a fire broke out at the Pennyburn retirement community. Investigators say 2 people are displaced and a cat died in that fire. They're still working to find out what caused the fire, but believe it started near a garage. The High Point Fire Department says they're seeing a nearly 20% increase in fire calls compared to last year.
This time of year, you know, when we go into wintertime, when people first start firing up furnaces and you know, portable heaters and that kind of thing, yeah, you can pin it on that a lot of times. But this time of year, it's just very random as to what the causes are. And you know, we come to work, we don't know what we're going to get, and that's the great thing about the job.
And now let's get to your other top stories in your 4 to 5 roundup. President Joe Biden is making a trip to the Triad this week. He's stopping in Greensboro for the first time since becoming president. We're still waiting on more details on the location where he'll visit. The White House says he's coming to drum up support for his Build Back Better agenda. The plan includes several social initiatives like free preschool, better health care, and cheaper prescription drugs. The president tried to get the bill passed earlier this year, but it failed in the Senate. The president's trip to the Triad comes amid the rollout of new gun rules. Today, President Biden unveiled a policy targeting privately made firearms without serial numbers, also known as ghost guns. He said the guns are oftentimes linked to crimes, and he's pushing for tighter laws around their sales. Sources say manufacturers and gun rights groups are likely to challenge the move in court. Well, it's time to start signing up for kindergarten. Registration opened today for Alamote's Burlington County schools. Students must be 5 years old on or before August 31st, 2022. Parents can register online on the district's website. Guilford County Schools started its kindergarten registration last week. Well, for the first time ever, the CMT Awards is airing right here on WFMY News 2. There is one last-minute change ahead of tonight's show. One of the hosts, Kelsey Ballerini, tested positive for COVID and is now hosting from home. Kane Brown will take her place in person alongside Anthony Mackie. Several performances are expected to entertain the crowd, including a very special appearance by the mother-daughter duo, the Judds, who are reunited for their first performance in decades. That's all going down tonight on WFMY News 2 at 8 o'clock. And oh my goodness, Monique, it has really turned out to be a beautiful day. I hope these warmer temperatures stick around.
Yeah, Stacy, they certainly will. In fact, if you're like me, you did enjoy the day today, and these temperatures right now sitting at a mix of upper 70s and 80s. I've been rocking with you guys all weekend, talking about how cold it has been, but today we're all speaking about the warmth as temperatures sitting now, like I said, in the upper 70s, 78 in Greensboro, 78 there in Winston-Salem. When you look across the southeastern region, including South Carolina and us here at home, we're both sharing in the warmth. But when you widen up that view, you get to see some cooler spots like Great Falls, or colder, 30 degrees in other places as we look north, 51 in Bismarck, which really isn't too shabby because they're usually very cold. But overall, across the southeast, we're all very warm. This pattern has been setting itself up as high pressure has been building across the southeast and shifting its way offshore. As that happens, a more active weather pattern sets itself up, and that also means more active weather as we look towards the deep south. So this boundary that's going to be kind of passing its way across the mid-Atlantic over the next several hours is what's going to possibly bring in some light showers for your late Tuesday. Still not 100% confident on that possibility. It is very likely that most of you will actually just talk about the clouds than you in the warmth than you will ever talk about showers throughout the day tomorrow. The next big chance for us to actually see some heavy rain is when this particular cold front, along with this same developing system, actually makes its way across our area, which won't be until Thursday. So it approaches us Wednesday, as you can see on the timestamp here, but it actually crosses us on Thursday. When it makes that cross, that's when I expect us to get the best chance for heavy rain. And like I said, that's not until Thursday. So guess what? We not only get to enjoy these warm temperatures for today, but also tomorrow and even on Wednesday, as well as with these temperatures being warm, we're also looking at very dry skies. And then not until that cold front actually crosses our area on Thursday that we get the next big shot of rain. Now, I know a lot of folks curious as to, okay, I know you're talking about Thursday, Monique, but I really need to know for Easter weekend, what should I expect? And of course, I have that answer for you, but just not quite yet. I'll have more details up on that 7-day forecast coming up before this 4 p.m. hour ends.
You know, it's really not all that surprising. A lot of us gained weight during the pandemic. Think about it. Everybody was home, isolated with our fridges and pantries to keep us company. Now, also, mental health took a big hit for the same reasons, but we're talking about depression and anxiety. A lot of this triggered by job loss and financial stress. So health and wellness expert Lynch Hunt has been focused on finding a way to help the community heal. And this month, he opened the doors to a new solution.
We believe in the ministry of fitness, health, wholeness.
With a prayer for real change in the community, the doors to a second AWOL Fitness opened in East Greensboro. Also unveiled a new partnership to combat the effects of the pandemic.
The Million Pound Challenge is a health initiative that we came together to formulate so that we can help people have the resources and information that they need to really survive, grow, and heal post-pandemic.
Lynch Hunt has a passion for health and wellness, two things he saw take a noticeable hit during the pandemic.
Experiencing these drastic circumstances so fast in such a short period of time, it caused a lot of anxiety and depression in all of us, and not just us as individuals, but in our entire families. Anxiety and depression have doubled in children alone since the onset of the global pandemic.
Mental health and fitness are the focus because one impacts the other.
When we get anxious or depressed, we turn to bad eating. And those food choices actually turn into weight gain, and then weight gain turns into obesity, and then that turns into illness and chronic illness.
This is more than, a workout.
So for instance, if we have a therapist on board with this health initiative, we'll do one time a month. Anybody that's involved in our Million Pound Challenge can log on with a Zoom link to a therapy session where everybody is collectively on here and get the type of information we need to deal with one too many bad days.
Bringing the community together to fight this common enemy, he says, is the best way to heal.
Be the change that you want to see in the world.
So here's the way it works. For every pound of weight loss, somebody is donating $1. So the foundation will raise $1 million to go back into these partner organizations so that they can continue to offer these services into the community for free of charge. Big deal there. You don't have to make a monetary donation, but you do have to want to be involved. If you want to find out more about the Million Pound Challenge, go to their website. We've linked you to it on ours, WFMYnews2.com.
I mean, I really do think that this goes like hand in hand, your mental health and your diet, because even in my personal life, I've realized that when I'm really happy, I want to eat really healthy, but then other times when maybe I'm sad, like in the winter time when I just want to cozy up, I eat worse, if that makes sense.
I agree with you. I think what you put into your body goes straight to your mental. And I like that this is a community effort and giving people resources to know what's out there to make themselves healthier. I know for me, I'm really into working out and it makes me just feel great. I feel great spiritually, emotionally, and I'm excited that other people are getting in on that.
I know I talk to Lauren sometimes. I'm like, I worked out 3 times this week. She's like, every day.
5 a.m. I wake up. That's when the alarm goes on. 6 o'clock. I got to put the plug in.
That's awesome.
Orange Theory.
Well,
yes,
exercise does help, though.
You know what my workout is?
What's that? Picking up a baby.
Yeah,
There you go.
Whatever works for you.
I really do. Like, that is my goal at some point this year, is to really just take baby steps literally to not necessarily get back in the gym, but just at least do something active whether it be like going home and just going for a walk with my family or something.
You need one of those
that's the
running
goal.
strollers, Stace, that they put the babies in, and those ones that you can actually run with.
I
Those
need
are
to get a
incredible.
bike and put her in the front.
Yeah.
In the basket.
Yeah,
that would
be
be
cute.
fun.
She would enjoy that ride for sure.
Plus, she'd be
She
the
would.
cutest thing in the world with a little helmet on.
Oh
Let's
my
be
gosh.
honest.
Yes, she would. Be fun. Well, we will be right back after this break. You can join us on Facebook to keep the conversation going.
Let the swaps and trades begin tonight as the 2022 WNBA draft. And the drama has already started with the Atlanta Dream acquiring the #1 overall pick from the Washington Mystics. Here at home, we've got our eye on NC State's Alyssa Canane. She's a 3-time All-American from Summerfield and is projected to go anywhere from New York to Las Vegas. The WNBA draft airs tonight at 7.
16-year-old U.S. Olympian Alyssa Liu is calling it quits. The figure skater announced her retirement on Instagram over the weekend. And here's a look at that post. She says she is satisfied with her skating career and looks forward to moving on with her life. Liu started skating when she was 5 years old and has spent about 11 years on the ice. This year, she was the youngest individual skater on Team USA for Winter Olympics in Beijing. I think this is so interesting. We talk a lot about kids and their mental health and athletes and their mental health. And I think especially this day and age with kids, they're involved in so much and there's a lot of pressure put on them to perform well in athletics. So I can't imagine taking that kid and putting them in a professional atmosphere, how difficult that would be. So I commend her for saying, hey, you know, I did this for 11 years. I'm proud of what I've done, but it's time for me to start a new journey.
And you know, figure skaters that's the most immersive practice. You know, they start that, I mean, imagine being 5 years old and they have to practice hours a day, every day, almost every day. And I almost feel like it's too much for little ones.
It's a lot of sacrifice and commitment. It's like they're adults as children, you know, when we're adults, we put all this work into our jobs, but they're already working from the age of 5. And I think when you're at the Olympic level, it's just this type of pressure that the average person like us, we will never, you know, have to face. So for her to have a successful career, you know, at 16, she's done this 11 years. I'm sure her parents are proud, and she has a lot to, you know, be proud of.
And she needs to be a 16-year-old now.
Exactly.
You know, get back some of that.
Look at what Simone Biles did.
And that's what I thought about when I saw this.
Because that can so easily happen to people that compete. It's a hard thing to do.
It takes over your whole life if you're not careful.
It really does.
All right, so sometimes you may not understand other people's actions. We hear this a lot, but Coach Lamont says that's okay. In today's U Day, he talks about understanding other perspectives.
Believe it or not, not everyone we come into contact with is the problem. Did you ever stop to think that maybe it's you? I say this because many of us are unaware that self-perception are the eyes in which we view the world and the people in it. We are oversaturated with meism and expect the entire world to see and understand things the way that we see them. We were created with our own minds and opinions, and we must respect the fact that others may not see the world as we do. We must not use that as a reason to punish others, but to learn and teach so that perspectives can be shared. Don't throw the world away because it doesn't agree with you. Challenge it and watch how your perspective could possibly change for the better. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best U Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I really like that a lot. That's why I think reading is so important, and having like a diverse group of friends from different places, you know, maybe different economic status. It really gives you a more well-rounded view of the world and society than staying with people that, you know, are just like you. And then it helps you to kind of work through things when people have a different perspective. It makes you kind of step outside the box and say, okay, I see where you're coming from, even if I don't necessarily agree with you.
You don't learn anything if you're with like-minded people.
Absolutely,
you know? You just keep seeing the same thing over and over. When he was saying that, understanding other people's perspectives, there used to be an old joke that said, how many self-absorbed people does it take to change a light bulb? It's like one, they just hold it and think that the world revolves around them and then twist the light bulb in. Yeah, you have to really think about other people and listen to what they have to say.
One thing that stood out to me, he was talking about, you know, it's not always about me. You got to make sure you look at what's around you and value other people. But sometimes I also think it is important to take care of yourself. I remember my mom telling me multiple times, just because I value so much with what other people say, that I forget about myself. And then I don't take care of my mental health. I'm still worrying about, you know, you and you instead of taking care of me. So I think that you got to find a good balance too.
Good
So
point.
true. Take care of yourself first. Everything else falls in line. We're coming back.
It's one thing to say how nice it is, but it's another thing to actually stand outside and feel these nice weather conditions. Now, as we look west, you can see this very active weather seed setting itself up across Tennessee and even portions there of Kentucky. Traveling to the north and east, you can already see some of that cloud cover building in across our satellite radar, and I can actually see some of those clouds as I'm standing out here in the weather garden. Now, at times, and even you can maybe see something swaying here in the garden, we have seen some stronger wind gusts at times through today, and I expect as we go through this evening, we will continue to get some strong wind gusts across our area. So take notice how these forecast wind gusts increase across both South Carolina as well as us here in the central Piedmont. This is talking late Monday night. We're talking wind gusts of upwards of 30 miles per hour, and then continuing to be very strong as we go into the start of your Tuesday. Now you can even see Wednesday, we're talking strong winds, so it's really kind of a pattern set up where we're seeing breezy conditions over and over again through this week. The next chance of rain, as I mentioned earlier in the newscast, is on Thursday, and you can see this weekend we're looking at the chance of rain for your Easter holiday. Now, days like this really remind me of picking season, you know, like strawberries, blackberries, or maybe even a Reidsville favorite, blueberries. I met a woman who was so inspired by the fruit that she actually retired from her job, went back to school, and made blueberries her new one.
A love story dating back to 1999 now leads us to this farm right here on Blueberry Road in Reidsville.
Steve and I dated for many years before we married, and you know how you'll do whatever the other person wants to do when you're trying to form a relationship. And I can remember helping him with pruning the blueberry bushes. I didn't really know what I was doing, but he taught me.
My dad, before he passed away, he said, "I don't really know what's wrong with you, why you won't marry her. She's a good woman." And, you know, I got to thinking, you know, he's right.
It was a team effort. Stephen Rivers would tend to the berries, and Terry Stamey Rivers would sell at the local farmers market once a week. She did this all while also working a day job in local government until she retired.
I knew I still had a lot left to do, and I knew we had a lot of products here on the farm that people would enjoy.
So what did Terry do? She went back to school.
I studied the materials in between customers, and then I would come home and go online and take the class.
Terry said she had to learn the science to become certified by North Carolina State University to sell products like these.
Some pickled items like candied jalapenos. We raise the jalapenos here on the farm. We do red chow chow with tomatoes, and that's one of the old-timey recipes. It's a very old recipe made with red tomatoes.
Terry says the farm has brought the Rivers success, but also pain.
A bear came through and tore up some of our beehives, and the bees were very angry, and they were just reaching out, and I just happened to be on the front porch, and they came and got into my hair and stung me. My husband was stung 30 times that day.
Terry stood by her husband as he healed through one of the most difficult times on the farm.
She's everything that you need for a support person, everything.
I will say they were the most beautiful couple. I mean, when I went into their home, they embraced me and Crosby, my photographer, when we walked in, and it was just, they were just so warming and loving. Really got that Southern hospitality being around them. She even let us take home some of the, she let me try the honey butter, and Crosby was able to try the honey. But certainly enough, if you ever at the farmer's market, go check out their stand because they have so many things.
I love it because it's like she quit the career, and I guess retired, not quit, but retired, and then goes on and says, you know, this is something I love. I'm going to do what I love, and it's not about the money anymore. It's about what you love doing and that kind of thing. And there's like love in every jar. That's really
cool. I like that.
I love that. Love in every jar. I think that's something a lot of us aspire to be able to do, something that we love, that just, you know, isn't a 9-to-5 traditional job. And I love that it was a love story that brought her there. It was someone else bringing that out of her.
Yeah, she was like, I wasn't
she
into the
said,
farming.
I don't,
she's like a germaphobe.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm not into it. But he taught her.
I admire the fact that she said, you know, in between, or when she was checking out a customer or orders or whatever, that she was like studying to, you know, be able to go to class after work and get this, I don't know what degree she got, but just incredible. There's her certificate of completion.
So cool.
I want to try this honey butter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Breakfast at your house tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Yeah, who's cooking?
I'll be there bright and early.
After the show. We'll be back. Stay there. If you are a fan of true crime television, then this may be what you've been waiting for. So the streaming service called Magellan TV is looking to pay someone, get this, $100 per hour to watch 24 hours of true crime and document all your thoughts on this on social media. That's right, $2,400 to watch 24 hours of true crime. So upon completion, the winner also gets 1 year of the Magellan TV service for free. So I asked you, what true crime show do you think you could watch for 24 hours straight? I was getting a lot of the same answers, by the way. Debbie said the first 48. From the time the homicide happens to the conviction of the killer, it's all uncovered. Donna said Chicago PD, always. I like the storylines they have and the action of what they do. Melba said Snapped, but now I'm hooked on The Thing About Pam. Bill says Cops when it was on, and I got news for you, Bill. I don't think Cops has ever not been on. It's on somewhere all the time. Michael Lee said the first 48 and Forensic Files. We got a ton of first 48s. And then Matthew with humor here said C-SPAN. True crime. That was funny. That was funny. I do like true crime, but I'm all over the place with it. I mean, it's first 48, it's forensic, it's Dateline, it's 48 hours, all of it. You know?
I love Snapped. That is my
I've
show.
never seen that.
It's so good, and they always have the marathons, and on a Sunday, I'll just sit and watch all of them. Also, Killer Kids. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like kids who have, killed people and different things, and it's so interesting, like what drove this child to, murder a parent or something. I don't know, but I find it interesting, the background stories of what led to it.
I always think it's interesting when they interview like a neurologist or somebody that, or a psychologist, and just like learning what is behind this, like what made them do this. But if it's like real life, I like 2020 a lot, but if it's like fictional, I guess I like, what's it called? Oh, Law and Order SVU.
So that got mentioned a few times, but we were talking about true crime. But yes, that's huge.
That's a big one.
It is.
That's a big one.
It is. All right. So don't watch it late at night. That's my only advice to you.
Then you'll think about it all throughout the night.
Checking
That's
all the doors.
That's what happens to me.
All night long. We're coming back. Stay there. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 4 to 5. Hey, we're going down the line here. Monique, Lauren, Eric, Stacy, the gang is all here. We're ready for you.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching the 4 to 5 right here on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app for your TV, phone, or tablet.
We're going to kick things off with some of your top stories starting out at 4:30. We're taking a look at new threats surfacing in Ukraine. Right now, officials are on high alert ahead of vigorous Russian attacks from the east. New satellite images show an 8-mile convoy of Russian military vehicles headed to the Donbas region. The Ukrainian army is ready to defend the area, but says they're going to need more weapons. Sunday, Ukraine's president appeared on 60 Minutes and said in order to stop Russia, his country needs more support ASAP.
They have to supply weapons to Ukraine as if they were defending themselves and their own people. They need to understand this. If they don't speed up, it will be very hard for us to hold on against this pressure.
Right now, U.S. national security is looking at giving new weapon systems to Ukrainian forces, but they say that would require some training outside of the country. As the war in Ukraine rages on, agencies here in the Triad are prepared to welcome refugee families. Church World Services of Greensboro has helped immigrant and refugees resettle in Guilford County since 2009. They've recently increased their capacity to accommodate Afghanistan refugees and are ready to do the same for those fleeing Ukraine.
We will probably see Ukrainian refugees arriving through the U.S. refugee admissions program, but that probably won't happen for quite some time. That'll take a lot of resources to process those cases.
President Biden recently announced plans to welcome 100,000 Ukrainian refugees into the U.S., but the organization says only time will tell when we could see Ukrainian refugees arrive here in Greensboro.
Right now, there's a growing concern over a spring COVID surge. 27 states across the Northeast seeing a rise in cases, and one city is thinking about bringing back an indoor mask policy. Health officials say most of the cases are the BA2 Omicron subvariant. Though the symptoms are milder, they fear lower testing numbers could lead to underreporting.
A new international study finds children 5 and up are at a higher risk of COVID-related infection, multi-system inflammatory syndrome. Symptoms include fever for at least 3 days, inflammation, blood clotting issues. Children ages 6 to 17 had a higher risk of admission to the ICU than kids 5 years and younger. This week, there are plenty of opportunities for you and your family to get your COVID vaccine. The Guilford County Public Health is hosting 3 clinics, one at Windsor Recreation Center, another at One Step Further, and one at New Light Baptist Missionary Church. There are also clinic locations offered in High Point. Appointments are not required but recommended. You can find this full list on our website. Head on over to WFMYnews2.com.
Alcohol use, other substance use has increased throughout the pandemic.
Data from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, or NIAAA, shows alcohol sales were up these last 2 years compared to years between 2017 and 2019. As more sales were rung up, Fellowship Hall, a nonprofit alcohol and drug addiction center in Greensboro, also noticed a trend. Clinical Director Kelly Skaggs says while at the beginning of the pandemic their numbers dropped, once restrictions started lifting, they started seeing more people coming to get treatment. She says the pandemic really impacted heavy drinkers, making it more problematic.
Isolation is one of the biggest problems for people, with substance use, because when you're home alone and there's really no checks and balances there, and for a lot of people where they may have waited till they got finished with their workday to come home, have a beverage of their choice, they were able to do that at 11 o'clock, noon, throughout the day.
Skaggs says they're seeing more guests with trouble with alcohol than any other substance. Sadly, alcohol use is the 3rd leading cause of preventable deaths in the country, and 88,000 people died due to alcohol-related deaths in the last year. That's according to Skaggs. So how do you know you or maybe someone you know has a problem? Well, the NIAAA defines heavy drinking for men as consuming more than 4 drinks on any day or more than 14 per week. Now, for women, it's more than 3 drinks on any day or more than 7 drinks a week. And here's how Skaggs recommends talking with someone you think may have a problem.
The primary thing to keep in mind is just approach it with genuine care and concern. What we want to try to do is avoid the judgment piece, because if you go to somebody and say, you're drinking too much and you're whatever it is, it's going to be natural for somebody to be defensive.
If you want more information about alcohol abuse or Fellowship Hall, you can just visit this story on our website, WFMYnews2.com. I think what Fellowship Hall is doing is so great. They're a nonprofit organization here in Greensboro that help with alcohol and substance abuse addiction. And like she said, I mean, they've seen an uptick in people.
I didn't realize that 88,000 people died in last year. Like that.
Yeah, I
is
didn't realize
way
that
higher.
either. I think what I liked what she talked about was if you were to go to someone that you think has a problem, the judgment part. Because I think a lot of times people, there might be some denial there that they know they have an issue. They know that they feel like they can't function without alcohol, but they'll make excuses like, oh, I'm fine, I can drive, I only had 5 drinks.
Right.
But I think if you really care about someone, you have to make them feel like it's a safe space. Because I think there's an embarrassment there if you are struggling with that.
And if they have been drinking, sometimes the defenses are way up higher than they would normally be.
And
So.
I've seen some alcohol abuse in my family before, and like how people, approach those situations.
And also I have too, and I watched this person, the health issues later in life are so bad.
And some of those people have said to me, like, if I could go back to when I was 20, I wouldn't have done X, Y, Z, and I wouldn't have some of the health issues I have today.
Oh yeah,
Tough decisions.
And she said, it's not always going to be a one conversation thing, and things are going to change. You need to have a lot of conversations with someone.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know there's help, and that's the important thing here. All right, we're coming back. Stay there. Take a short break.
We have weather, not quite yet. I know many folks may not like to hear this when it comes especially to those allergies. You can't see it on the sky cam. It is a beautiful day out there across the area, but we are starting to see some of those clouds especially pick up in some locations. Overall though, those windy conditions have been really spreading this thing around. The pollen. Tree pollen has been high for your day today, and the one thing I don't like to see is now that the grass pollen is already starting to accumulate too. We had to deal with the tree, but now it's starting to see like that grass pollen is starting to also make its way into the forecast. And as we go through this week, it looks like that pollen forecast is going to remain high, at least for today, going into your day tomorrow and the next day thereafter. So we're talking very high pollen as we continue through these days, but also some rain chances. Those rain chances will help to wash out some of that pollen, but it doesn't look like Tuesday or Wednesday's rain chance will really bring in much rain. It's that Thursday one that could kind of help in aiding to wash out some of that pollen, but overall, it's just that time of year, so we're going to keep dealing with it. So when we talk about that rain, like I said, for your Thursday, that's when that actual cold front is going to cross the area, and that's when I see us having the best chance for rain. Now, things will dry out for Friday, which is good, but then for the weekend, it looks as though some models are hinting at some more chances of rain. I'll show you the 7-day again before the show ends, coming up.
Parents, listening up, summer is approaching. You know what that means. That's when everybody frantically searches for things to keep your kids occupied. Well, thank you, Carolina Theater, because they're bringing back the Carolina Kids Club in full swing. I spoke with Marketing Director Megan Cope to see what it looks like this year. Megan, as you well know, this is one of my favorite events. I used to do this, host this years ago, but it's fun. So it's back in full steam ahead, right?
Absolutely. The Carolina Kids Club is back. We're ready this summer. We're firing it up. On July 13th, we're going to do Wednesday mornings straight through August 10th, and we are ready for some fun.
Talk about what people can expect when they go there, because I think a lot of parents don't realize this is one of the best deals in town.
The doors are going to open at 9 a.m. and at 9:30 we warm things up with a little bit of trivia on stage here in the theater, and then we bring out Mad Science for some interactive stage fun. We have a number of kids who get a chance to get up on stage, so they're part of theater history now. And then after that, we go right into the kid-approved movie of the day, and we wrap up around noon, and the tickets are only $5 and include a kid's snack pack as well. So it's a great deal. We'll fill your summer morning. You'll still have time to get to the pool for the afternoon, or, my preferred, go home and take a nap.
Sometimes after Mad Science, we all need naps. Can you give people an example of what some of the, I know maybe not exactly what you're having this year, but in years past, the science part is a big hit.
Oh yeah, they always try to do something to tie into the movie. So there's a little bit of educational entertainment mixed in with the movies. And this year's movies are a lot of fun. Everything from Raya the Last Dragon all the way to Encanto rounding out the summer. So we've got some newer titles that our kids maybe haven't had a chance to see on the big screen, and this is a great opportunity to do it.
I know my kids will not stop singing the Encanto soundtrack constantly.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're not talking about that. Hey, thanks, Megan. Good luck with everything this summer. It's a great program. So back in the day, I used to host this when they had, and it was so much fun. And my twins were little; they were like 9 years old, I think, when we used to do this. It's a blast, and it's a great way for parents to do. It's only like half a day, so you could do that and still make it to the pool or whatever you're going to do with the kids later. It's really good.
And it's a like productive activity. Not only is it
That's right.
entertaining, you're learning something, and don't they get like a snack and everything?
Yeah,
too?
so the kids pack like that's it's $5, and they're getting popcorn and a drink and some sweet treat, and so you're really it's the best deal in
Just
town.
look how excited
I know,
they
I've just been
look.
watching
Yeah,
all
science
those
stuff.
photos. So what age group is this?
You know, it's really kind of all over the place, but for me, I would say elementary school. You know,
Probably
it
the
could be-
best age group.
Yeah.
I want to go. It looks so fun.
It is fun. Not gonna lie, it's fun. So check it out, and that starts July 13th. I do believe goes through the first part of August. All right, before we head to break, this prom season, we are celebrating all the high school students right here in the Triad. We want to see your pics and videos of your teen's special night, the dress, the shoes, the tux. Text it to 336-379-5775. That's 336-379-5775. We'll share it on air and online. By the way, remember, we can only do personal photos. Do not send us ones from professional photographers. We do not have the rights to those. So just your personal photos, and we'll be back.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie or Reese's peanut butter cup. This is the week for the egg decorating, the paint, the dye, the stickers, however you do it. If this was a thing for your family when you were growing up, I want you to tell me, how did you do it? So how'd you do it?
The little wire thing that you dip in the vinegar-based dye, whatever that was.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Same for me. That was the what we did every year. And I remember my mom had a specific type of dishware we used every year just for that.
Right, because it was going to like smell and stain and
Yeah.
whatever
Dye,
else. What about
everything.
you, Lauren?
It was always just a good time. We didn't do it too much growing up, but I do remember doing it probably like in first grade, second grade, third grade with both of my parents. So it was a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's been a while since I did the dip dye egg thing, but one year I did the tie dye thing. And I mean that
fancy,
literally.
fancy.
So what I did was I got men's ties from Goodwill and I wrapped them around the egg and then dipped the eggs in like a vinegar boiling mixture, and the fabric comes off on the tie, like, you know, the dye from the tie. So it makes that kind of like thing, which I thought was kind of cool. Now last year I bought plastic eggs and I spray painted them yellow and then did the various emojis to show the year in COVID review. You can see the emotions there of how it started and how it went, and we're in a much better spot now, right? All right, so the one thing is that the plastic eggs, there's no cracking, right? So a little easier to work with. Are you a plastic versus a real? What you got going on?
We do real because my daughter Drew has this little contraption that you can put in and it spins the egg and you hold a magic marker against it and it makes like stripes of color. They're beautiful.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So when I was growing up, we always did a mixture, and I just thought about this. I remember my dog always trying to eat the real ones that we hid outside, right?
Yep.
This year we just got the really big plastic ones for Baylor. Obviously, she's probably just going to hit them together and smile, but you know,
And that's okay.
It's going to be fun.
We did a lot of the plastic growing up and putting the candy and then hiding them.
Oh, yes.
We would have like Easter egg hunts at church or just maybe in the neighborhood. So we did do a little bit of the real eggs, but we would always hide the plastic ones.
Now, what I want to know is, did you do the egg salad afterwards? Or were you like, nope, I'm not doing that with those eggs?
Tossing them out.
Threw them out.
Too many hands have been on them.
Yes.
Very smart, friends, very smart. All right, just in time for Easter, of course, and the dyeing of eggs, comes egg prices that are up. According to the Department of Agriculture, the average weekly price for large eggs is now 44% higher compared to last year. They say the increased demand, of course, with the dyeing, right, and the bird flu virus is causing all of this increase in price. Now, according to the National Retail Federation, families plan to spend just under $170 on the Easter holiday. Now, this includes the Easter basket goodies, the food for Easter dinner, the gifts, and the clothes as well, because you got to look sharp on Easter Sunday. We'll be right back.
It's spring break for many families this week and next, so I asked you on my Facebook page, what are your plans? Kathy will be working but says to enjoy and be safe. Dawn is going to visit family and eat. Yeah, I think we all like that. Debbie says, I'm retired, but 2 grandkids are in New York City and parents took them to their first Broadway show. And the other 2 grandkids went with their parents to Oak Island. Hope they are all having a blast. Ashley is going to relax and enjoy time with the kids. Candace writes, retired, so on break all the time. Jim says, stay away from spring break hotspots. And Edward made me laugh with this one. He writes, me, I'm going to travel as far as the money will allow. My bank account, enjoy your trip to the end of the driveway and back. With gas prices, I mean, come on.
Gas is something serious.
Very true. For us, we are, this next week for us. So the first half of the week is kind of a stay-at-home vacation, do things around the house that I need to have done months ago. And then the second half, we're going to see my son at college. So we're going down to visit him for they have a family weekend.
That'll be a treat. What about you?
I'll be here, but I'm excited. I guess my spring break thing is going to see Elton John next week.
Oh, I am too. I
I'm
cannot wait.
Very excited. I'll have to look for you there.
So for me, I'm going to Memphis this weekend to support one of my friends that's in her first bodybuilding competition.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really excited to go. You know, I used to live there for 4.5 years to see some old friends and things like that. So
Have you seen pictures lately? She's just like
she
killing
has
it.
transformed. She's always been pretty fit, but it's been amazing to see how disciplined she's been. Like her eating habits, like she has not fallen off the wagon. So she's excited to eat some cheesecake.
So I was gonna say, well, you need to go binge at Central Barbecue for me afterwards.
Yes,
okay?
that's gonna be on the list.
Okay, good.
Best barbecue in town.
Oh,
wow, that's amazing.
My
That's discipline like we don't know.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
I'm like, I commend you, sister.
That's
so.
a whole nother level there. All right, we'll take a break. We're coming back. My 2 cents is next.
Also being injured in the fight. 2-3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 3-year-old girl died.
Hi, mic check. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
hey, mic check 1, 2, 3. Flu viruses have been detected in wild birds and commercial. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Mic check.
Check 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do you know how to say the county? Is it Oconee? Is that accurate? Asking. Oconee. What
It's time for my 2 cents, and I reluctantly do this. Men, I'm sorry, I apologize. Ladies, you will love this. Women, how many times have you asked your husband for something maybe in the fridge, and he says, "We don't have it," and then you walk up and go,
"It's right in front of you."
Some people call this man-looking or doing a man scan. Tanya Rivera and I reenacted it for you.
Hey, get the baking soda.
Okay. It's not in here.
It's right here.
So there you go. And if you're like me, men, I'm not lying about this. I hate it when she catches me in this. In fact, sometimes I'm looking like I'm having a seizure or something. I'm like, because I am determined to find whatever it is, because I hate it when she walks up and says, "Oh, here it is right in front of you." So I looked this up. There is science behind this, people. Apparently, the rods and cones that make up our eye and how we see are different and differently oriented for women than men. For example, they say men see motion better than women, and women see shades, colors, outlines better than men. In fact, did you know that 1 in 12 men can be colorblind, but only 1 in 200 women can be colorblind? They think it goes back to hunting and gathering, back when the men would do that and they have to look and find the animal out in the woods so they can have food that night. So it is interesting that there's science behind this. Women also apparently smell better and mostly hear higher frequencies better than men. So guys, we have an excuse, but that doesn't mean that our ladies will let us have that excuse. So my thing is, if you want me to get the sour cream, teach the sour cream to run across the shelf in the fridge, and then I'll see it. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
This morning, a pet cat died in a house fire in High Point.
Hours prior in Burlington, an unattended candle caused almost $100,000 in damage to a different house.
Before that, another house fire leading a High Point family without